Well, we're back for another week of In the End Zone with Coach Noel Mazzone. We've watched a lot of football games this past week, and we're going to dig into a few of those. And our topic today is going to be halftime adjustments. So, Noel, it's great to have you back for another week of talking ball, and I'm excited to get into this topic.
Yeah, the only thing that's hurting right now is my lawn's not getting mowed or the weeds pulled because I sit all day inside watching football games. I told Heidi the other day, we got to get a TV that we can put outside.
You have to get something going to your phone or iPad and just put that thing right on the front of the lawnmower and walk it around the yard. Well, the topic of halftime adjustments, actually one you and I have not talked about in any of our conversations on the podcast or otherwise, so I'm excited to dig into this one. And what really brought it up is that in the games you've watched, you saw some things that were being adjusted and making a difference there in the second half.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the one thing that kind of hit me. It made me think back, and I'm going to read you some stats here, okay, Keith? Mm-hmm. Some numbers, all right? Like what really matters in a football game. Okay, so it's the what matters, and some interesting stats here. The firsts matter. This is a study done over the last 5 years at the FBS level. The team that was more efficient on first downs, okay, meaning making their whatever it is 3.5 yards or whatever on first down, won 71% of the time. The teams leading after the first quarter won 77% of the time. The team leading after the first half won 84% of the games. Okay, and the team that scored first won 69%. And the one that really hit me was the average FBS team scores a touchdown on just 20% of their drives when they are inefficient on the first play of a drive. Okay, when they are efficient on P and 10, they score 45% of the time, so almost double their scoring. So I thought that was just some kind of interesting facts about, like, we game plan and talk about third down, red zone, coming out, the situational football, all right? But how much do we talk about drive starters? Mm-hmm. How much do we talk about, the first play of the game, are we just calling one to see where we're at? Are we talking about coming out and being efficient on first down? All right. So how many times, if you go back and self-scout, are you looking at yourself and you say, man, I'm just taking low percentage throws on first downs. I said, let's just be efficient on first down. So I thought that was all kind of interesting stats about college football.
Yeah, you look at those, high percentage correlation to winning. Certainly, the thing I think when you look at it, coming off the field, right? I think a lot of times, what are those first plays going to be? In between series, I was always scripting at least 3, and then looking at what I wanted to do if we hit a third and long, third and short, got into the red zone, etc. But certainly the first plays are important. You mentioned the one scoring first, 69% of the stats you gave, that was the lowest correlating one, but that's still a high percentage. For you as an offensive coordinator, did you have a preference if you guys won the toss that you took the ball or deferred?
It really didn't matter to me. Whatever the, unless there was some like unbelievable weather conditions or things like that, I always wanted the ball first because you're always looking for as many possessions as you can get. All right, well, do I want that extra possession in the first half, or do I want it in the second half? So I think that's there's some things that you look at, but I just pretty much the head coach pretty much decided what asked me, and I was like, hey, whatever you think I felt comfortable with either getting at the first possession or the second possession, And so one of the things that I think that I always did, I started doing was in my call sheet, I actually would game plan drive starters during the week. Mm-hmm. So I had the ones highlighted. These were my drive starters. These were my P and 10 calls, which I felt were probably, a little bit on the safe side. Now, you're going to take your shot every now and then on first down, but I'm talking about starting to drive, is that I would do that. And then the other one I always scripted was my made first down, because I always felt that once I made the first down in a drive, I felt you could kind of get into the rhythm of your offense. Yeah. So to me, it was always the hardest thing was always making that first down. Once you make the first down in the drive, now you start getting your tempo, and you start to catch a little rhythm, and you kind of get things going. So I thought it was I would spend some time and actually, game plan third down, you game plan red zone, you game plan coming off or third and short or whatever. All right, I would actually game plan my drive starters, my P and 10s. Okay, and all right, after I made that first down, what was I thinking?
Looking at the information that you're getting from the press box, and you were a guy who liked to call everything from the field. So you have guys upstairs charting certain things for you, getting you certain information. And what kinds of things were you looking for? Both yourself, I guess, the things that you look at on the field, as well as from the information that you're getting from the press box.
So the first thing I would come in and want to know about the third down, because to me that's the most important, because I don't have a chance to call any of the plays on my call sheet if I don't make first downs, and I can start getting into my call sheet a little bit. So it's like, okay, what are there any changes to what we think? Is it more pressure, less pressure? Are we doing a good job with handling pressure? If they're a pressure team, do we need to get more quick game? Do we need to change? That. So that was kind of the discussion, and then the next one was, all right, how efficient were we in the red zone? Okay, do we need to run the ball more down there? Whatever. Okay, and then from there, we would have all the basically drive charts from the first half. Is then we would basically start building the second half call sheet. Okay, what did we like in the first half from the O-line coach? What's the runs you really like? Where are you feeling good on what our pass game is, et cetera. So I would start building a kind of a second half call sheet off of that. And then also when we get in there is all right, how many explosives have we had in the first half? Because that matters. Mm-hmm. All right. Big plays matter. Okay. So if you have a plus 12 run or a plus 15 pass on a drive, all right, you score a touchdown like 50% of the time. Half the time you got a chance to score a touchdown. Okay. If you don't have an explosive play in a drive, you have a 5% chance of scoring a touchdown. Right. And that's big. All right. And usually the team that wins the explosive play battle usually is going to win 75% of the time. So I wanted to know, are we creating enough big plays in the first half? Did we take enough shots? Did we, do the things we needed to do, run the deep overs and throw the posts and throw the verticals and do those type of things to create explosive plays or explosive runs? Did we run a reverse? Just things like that. All right. And then the next thing I wanted to know is that about, okay, which plays are giving us negative plays? It may be a run. It may be, hey, our pass protection is not good enough to hold up against these guys. We're getting too many negative plays out of our drop back pass game. All right, so let's stay out of that for a while and get to more quick game and just try to stay on schedule. Because I think it's like the team that has a negative play jumps. If you have a negative play, you score just like 9% of the time on a drive. All right. Like a sack or something like that. If you can have like a jump off sides, a sack, things like that. And that doesn't even mean a completion. That just means a sack. Just throw it away. Right. If you don't jump off sides, right. I think you go up to like a 40%, you increase your odds of like 40% of scoring on that drive. So those are all the things I was looking for at halftime, that when I came out, and then I always held back, all right, something in the game plan formationally that I did not run in the first half. Mm-hmm. It may be unbalanced. It may be unbalanced in a boundary. It may be a bone look. It may be, 12. It may be something that's in the game plan out of personnel or out of formation, maybe empty or whatever. I always held something back because what I wanted was to come out the second half and early and show them something that they did not see in the first half, because I wanted their coaches coaching on the sideline,
right,
while the game was going on. So those are kind of things I did at halftime.
So looking at the explosives, and we've talked about the importance of that again and again throughout this season, and we've also talked about the idea of giving different presentation to things. So were you more likely to take those explosive plays that worked and repeat them sometime in the second half as they were, scripted and formation, or were you looking to change the presentation on those and coming back to those again?
So I would usually go into a game with somewhere. I mean, I think you should take shots, at least 7 shots a game. So you're looking at, 2 a quarter. Take your shots. So as you game plan that, so a lot of it's based on coverage and what you're seeing. But what you're trying to do is to me is you're trying to force them into a coverage you want by formation to take your shot. So to answer your question, yes, the shots don't really change a lot. Okay, it's deep double over post, it's double post over, it's all the cross country shots you see everybody throwing. It's short corner, high corner, things like that. So it was more like, hey, let's build a couple different formations and show them a different presentation, but and try to create the coverage we want to throw these shots. So I guess my long of it is, to answer your question, is those didn't change much. The shots didn't change much, but the presentation of the shots did.
Coach, if you were to go into a halftime, and it does happen from time to time, you don't have a lot of those things that are the positives for you or highlighted. I know for us, we'd highlight the efficient plays, right? And would have definition for what that means to us, if it was a run, pass, etc. But those times where, man, right now we're not in rhythm, not a lot's working great. What do you look to do then to get things jump started so that the second half's going to start in a positive way and build hopefully to something that's going to get you on track?
So my first thought is, how can I make it easier on the O-line? All right, because usually when you're not having success on offense is because you're struggling in the front. Okay, because coverages are coverages, and your concepts are your concepts on the outside. So what's our runs? What's our runs that can keep me on schedule? All right. So how can I minimize my run package for the second half that my guys feel good about? And if it means, even though I'm a tempo spread team or that type of team, if it means that I'm minimizing what my call sheet is to things that we've had some success with in the first half in the run, the guys feel good about, that I have to kind of grind out a few first downs and just run the football, then I got to be willing to do that. And then the next thing is what are my explosive? Can I create my explosive plays with my quick game? Can I create jet sweeps? Can I create bubble screens? Can I get the ball out quick to space? As soon as you start making some first downs, your guys start feeling better, right? But if I'm back to thinking I'm down a couple and let me just start throwing deep digs and posts and, comebacks and stuff like that, and I'm holding the ball in the back end, and all of a sudden it's a sack, and then it's just human nature as coaches, and we start to get impatient. Like, we want to score right now, which was always my biggest problem. If you come out and you're struggling moving the football, now we're also pressing as coaches, and we're searching for things that just – we're almost begging for a few yards, right? You've been in those games, right,
yeah,
Keith?
Right.
Where you're just hoping something good happens, a pass interference, anything, right? Just to kind of give me some yards and get me going. So I want to go back to my base. Okay, I want to go back to my base, things we know, things that we've done a million times, and let our kids just play their way out of it.
Because there's that human side of it too, and you mentioned, doing some things that the guys feel good about. And we've talked about all aspects of bringing in the data, talking to the coaches, getting that plan together. But what's the approach with the players? Both, I think, in getting information from them and making sure that the mindset's right, whether you're up big or down at that point, making sure that the mindset is right going into the second half.
Yeah, so usually like we'll meet. There's only 12 minutes you got, so you meet quickly on that. So that's pretty quick as a staff, and then everybody jumps to their position guys, and just kind of go over any kind of reminders, anything that they need to talk to their guys about, and then at the end, I'll grab the offense together on the board, and I'll have the old line coach jump up quickly, and he'll go, all right, here's the 2 runs or 3 runs or whatever that we're going to make work this half. All right. And he'll draw them up. Here's the looks you're getting. This is what we need to do. And then by then you're almost running out of time, to be honest with you. All right. And so then I usually will jump up and say, hey, look, we're going to get the ball out quick to you guys in space. We got to do a great job blocking on the perimeter. We just got to start creating first downs, man. All right. So let's don't think touchdowns. Let's think first downs. Okay, the touchdowns will show up. Okay, let's just think first downs. So if you got to lower your pads and make us a first down instead of trying to make 12 guys miss to score, don't. Okay, lower your pads, run over a guy, just get us a first down. And because the kids get impatient too, which is just kind of goes with guys being in tempo offenses that are. I mean, I think, God, 2 or 3 years ago, I think our average for the whole season, our average length of scoring drive was like 2 minutes and 17 seconds. So your kids are used to scoring quickly. They're used to going bang, 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 run down, call play, touchdown. And so when things aren't going good, they get impatient too. So we all have to kind of take a breath, calm down, and understand, hey, let's just go make first downs. Touchdowns will show up.
On the other side of things are going really well, and maybe you have a few plays that you've really had a ton of success with in the first half. How much do you guys think about what might their adjustment be? Based on data you have already, film you've watched, adjustments they've made, do you spend any time thinking about that and then any kind of adjustment or tweak you might have to make if they do those things?
Not really. I'm not a big guy chasing ghosts. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of from the school of the defense has to prove to me they can stop it. So I've got some things that are really working well, the run game or whatever, I'm notorious for. I just keep calling them. Mm-hmm. I keep calling them until they prove to me I can't call that anymore, or I can now recognize the adjustment they've made to stop it, and then hopefully I've got an answer to that. All right. Mm-hmm. So it's just like if you're an ISO team and you're running ISO, for 8-9 yards a clip, and all of a sudden they're barreling the linebackers, or the linebackers are shooting the gaps, and they're run stunting and all that. All right, well then I got to know. Okay, I got him now. Now what's my answer to that to take advantage of what they're doing to stop ISO? So that's how an offense builds. All right, you got to be known for something. All right, you can't be known as having that best 150 plays in football. Okay, you got to be known that like tight zone. All right. I know the defensive coordinator knows he has to stop tight zone, and I'm going to run tight zone. Okay. So, or you're going to run stretch or power or whatever your base runs are. The defensive guys know that. Right. And so, you have to be known for something, and then you have to have a good plan of adjusting to the adjustments that they make. And that's what brought us to this conversation, because I saw that in a lot of games this weekend of guys really doing good jobs at halftime, both defensively and offensively, of adjusting what their probably game plan was to adjust to what was actually happening on the field. That's what kind of spurred his conversation. I thought that this week I just kind of happened to notice it this week, as far as some staffs did a really good job, some players did a really good job of adjusting their what I thought they were trying to do in the first half to take advantage of what they were seeing, and then come out in the second half and had very good second halves.
Coach, looking at, especially for some of the younger coaches out there, right? I mean, we certainly threw a lot out in terms of things you need to look at in a short period of time, and we talked more about what you look at in that period of time than you actually get during that time. What's a simple approach, do you think, especially for a guy who's a little bit newer to the game, as well as guys who got to deal with maybe a younger team as well?
Yeah, well, to me, there's kind of two things that I think informationally are good to have. Now, you got to remember, you're also getting information all through the first half, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, between series, you're getting information. So you're starting. So this isn't something like we got to go in and oh my God, let's talk about it all right now. We should be compiling this and having our, you know, our tendency sheets or whatever, you know, you want to do. All right. About, all right, here's our pressure downs. But, you know, I think for me as a play caller, I really want to just know I want to know what's the pressures and when do they come. Okay. And then give me the coverage in front by formation. So if I can just know those two things, all right, it really helps me as a play caller. If I know in 3-by-1, open 3-by-1, all right, is that I'm catching many, you know, 80% of the time, that helps me as a play caller.
Right.
As opposed to I know I'm catching one free, all right, where in 2-by-2 I'm catching quarters. Well, I'm not catching quarters. I'm catching more cover 3, all right. So that helps me as a play caller if I have that information. And the next information that helps me is pressures, okay? Not as much what the pressure is, but when is the pressure. Mm-hmm. Because hopefully you've built your offense to handle pressure in protection or with hots or whatever, right?
Right.
But as a play caller, I need to know when are the pressure. When is this guy when is he a third down pressure guy? Is he a second long pressure guy? So then as a play caller, you know, I know that. That's valuable information to me as a play caller.
Coach, some great information today for us, and as we've been saying all season long, another week of football. It's a tough job, but we're gonna have to sit down and watch some more football this weekend. Yeah, it's moving along. Yeah. Definitely. It's been fun too to see this season some different names up in the rankings, constantly changed again this week, but gives you the opportunity to look at what other people are doing and what they're successful with, and you know the beauty of this game, that it's you know, it's not the same for everybody, that all kinds of different things can work if you work at it and do it well.
Well, Alabama got beat, so that gave everybody hope, right?
Right.
At every level. Look at Alabama can get beat, you know, and that was a great football game. Jimbo they did a great. Coach Saban's like one of the best ever, and you know, at some point you knew it was going to happen.
Right.
But I really think that as far as the confidence level of a team like Texas A&M, who's a really good football team, but kind of sitting there, you know, kind of sitting on the fence a little bit, and then all of a sudden to go out and play the way they did and beat for whatever reasons, right? But anyway, they won, you know, and beat an Alabama team. Just look at the confidence that gives that group going into the second half of the season or the end of the season. So I mean, it's just interesting. It's going to be fun next 4 weeks. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And as always, I appreciate your time, and we'll talk again soon. You bet, brother. Thank you. And hey, I'm still a Browns fan. Me too, at least for another week. See ya. Thanks again for listening to the Coaching Coordinator Podcast. Continue to follow all we're doing this season at coachingcoordinator.com, and follow me on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski.